Good evening. This is Coach Paula, your life transitions coach. Today is Sunday, February the 18th, 2024. I'm getting on a little late tonight because I just got a phone call from my sister who is away at a concert, like old school concert, and she wanted me to hear the band singing Always and Forever because that was a song that my husband used to sing to me. And so it's ironic that I'm getting on tonight to share lessons from my captain and to talk about my captain, and that she broke through and called me to have me listen to that. So I think that's kind of interesting. It's kind of weird though, because I'm like, I thought my phone was on Do Not Disturb, but I think she is one of my breakthrough contacts. So she was excited, and I guess our love resonates with her. And so she decided to show that to me. So that's why I'm late, but I'm going to do my 7 minutes. I've already used one. So let me get started with tonight's lesson. So if you've been following along with me for the month of February, the focus has been my husband and life lessons that I've learned from the loss of my captain. And so in January, I talked about my mom. February, talking about my husband. And in March, I'll be talking about my brother. And so for tonight's focus with my husband, as far as one of the lessons that I've learned from him, it's going to focus on grace and space and how important it is for us to give each other grace and space when we're doing something that we've never done before. So I'm going to share a story that my husband instilled in my family and how that story has impacted us even now, 2+ years beyond his passing. And so I'll start with my oldest son, MJ. He's about 31 years old right now. And when he was around 5 or 6, my husband was off from work that day. And he said, "Hey, when MJ comes home, I want us to have the talk with him." And so when you're a boy mom and you hear the word the talk, you're thinking it's that talk, that, pubescent talking. So I don't know anything about raising a child, raising a boy. This is my first son and I'm not a man. And so I'm like, well, don't you think that's a little early? And he's like, no, this is the right time for us to have this conversation. I'm like, 5 or 6, but okay, I'm going to trust you, babe. And so, sure enough, when my son came home from school, my husband did all the pleasantries, let him get a snack and all that good stuff. And so then he's like, "Son, I just need to talk to you for a few minutes. This is going to be a very serious conversation. I just need you to pay attention, and give me, your full support in this." My son's like, "Okay, Dad." And so he starts talking out, and he's like, "Listen, I'm just so honored to be your dad. When you think of all the men that are in the world, that God chose me to be your dad. And I'm just so honored that of all the children in the world that could have been given to me, he gave me you for you to be my child." And so I thought that was a good start. And so my husband goes on and, he's like, "Listen, but I've never been a dad before and you've never been a son before. So that means that we're both doing something that we've never done." And he says, that means we're going to do some things really well, but then other things we're going to mess up because, yet again, we're doing something we've never done before, son. But if we can work together, if we can be honest with each other, be open about things, and give each other grace and space to learn along this journey, we're going to be okay. And so he was like, "I'm committed to doing that, son. Are you committed to doing the same?" And my son's like, "Yeah, Dad. And so he was like, "Well, then we can do this. There's absolutely nothing that we can't do when we give each other grace and space." And then he's like, that's the end of the conversation. They did a high five, they hugged. And I'm sitting there like, that was beautiful, but like, we didn't talk about body parts or any of that kind of stuff. And my husband's like, "Babe, that's not the conversation for now." I'm like, "I don't know." So I'm like, okay. So it was just a random conversation with my 5 or 6 year old. I think he might have been 6 with my 6 year old son. And I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool. So then when my second son came along, there's 8 years between my oldest and my second son. And so now my oldest is like 14, and we had already had that other talk, y'all. We had already done that. And so now my second son is having the conversation. My husband starts with him, "Hey, I've never fathered 2 sons. You've never been a son." And then he looks at my older son, "You've never been a big brother." And so he goes through the same conversation, how we're doing something we've never done before. Let's give each other grace and space. And I'm watching my time because I don't want to go over. Then when my third son came along, there's 5 years between my second and my third son. So now, at this time, my oldest son's like 19, 18 or so. And now the baby boy or the middle son is like um, 10. And now baby boy is like, 5 or whatever. And so my husband starts with the youngest again. Look, you've never been a son. He goes to my middle son. At that point, we assigned him the role of the bridge. Like he's now the bridge child, and he bridges the two, the older and the younger. And then my husband went to the oldest. So we did the whole same thing again, the same conversation, how we're doing something we've never done before. Let's give each other grace and space. Why do I share that story? I share it because on the day my husband passed away, and my three sons and I are standing there, and we're looking at my husband, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I say? How do I console these boys? How do we move forward with this? That 3-time conversation belched up in my spirit. And in that moment, I looked at my husband, I looked at my sons, and I realized I've never been a widow before. I married my husband straight out of undergrad. I was 21 years old. I've never lived as an independent adult. And so I started saying this to my sons like, guys, I've never, been a widow. I've never not been an independent adult. You've never lived a day without your father. We're doing something that we've never done before. And immediately my boys started chiming in. Yeah, we're going to do some things right. And yeah, we're going to do some things wrong. But if we give each other grace and space. Now, mind you, that was like a one-time conversation with each of the sons. We never revisited it again. We didn't even use the language grace and space in the house. It was just a conversation that my husband had once with each of the sons. I witnessed it 3 times. And here it became the foundation of our lives over these 2+ years so far that my husband's been gone. Why is that significant? And I'm over my time, y'all, but we're going to go a little extra tight. Why is that significant? Because the words we say are significant. They have an impact. They last far beyond the simple time that they come out of our mouths. And we have to guard what we say and how we say things because they truly impact people. I didn't think my kids were paying that close of attention to that. And I didn't think I was really paying that close of attention to it. That simple conversation that my husband had has had ripple and long-term effects on each and every one of us. There's a scripture that talks about how the words we say are important, how we have to speak in ways that are uplifting and edifying to people. And it goes on to say in one translation that the words we say are a gift. The words we speak are a gift. So how are you gifting people with the words you say? Are the things you're saying to people edifying? Are they uplifting? Are they leaving an indelible, beautiful mark upon their lives? Are you giving people grace and space? People are often doing things they've never done before. You are doing things you've never done before. Give yourself and give others grace and space. That is so important. I don't think my husband had a clue in the world that what he was saying when he started those conversations would turn into something as significant as it has become in our family. And the same with you. You don't realize that what you're saying today has long term lasting effects upon others, even upon yourself. How you treat yourself and how you treat others is so critical. So, listen, I'm over my time. But I just want you to be cognizant and aware of grace and space. Give yourself grace and give yourself space and extend that to others. Be mindful of the things you say, knowing that every word is a gift. How are you gifting others? How are you gifting yourself with what you're saying? That's going to be our focus this week. I'll be back on Wednesday for Wednesday Wins and on Friday for Focus Forward Friday. I hope that in this time I have shifted your energy and awakened your potential. And listen, obviously my husband's talking had impact, but it also his singing must have had some impact for my sister to make me get on here late because she wanted to share the song Always and Forever and to share that memory of my husband singing it to me. And she's at this concert, this old school concert. And so, listen, what you say, how you say it, has an indelible and long lasting impression. So, apply grace and space to yourself and to all your friends and all your loved ones and to everyone to whom you interact. It truly does make a difference. You can do it, shifting your energy and awakening your potential. Have a great night. Take care.